Hello there, this is Richard Bromwell from Charterhouse Auctioneers. We're going to have a bit of a walk and a talk through our great big veteran vintage and classic car auction coming up on the 27th of June at the wonderful Haynes Motor Museum. Starting off the sale here, this is a 1987 BMW 325i SE. Yes, it's the E30. It's the one you like. Previously repainted. Do like this royal blue with a magnolia leather interior. It's an automatic, but I drive an automatic. I don't really mind about that. And this one's estimated around about the sort of the £5,000 to £6,000. Closely followed by a 1975 VW camper van. It's a Type 2 here. Sadly, from a deceased estate, this has had a lot of money spent on the bodywork, again not particularly unusual, and this is known as Kev Dog. Here we go, Kev Dog the camper, and Kev is ready here to go and make some more memories and go off to some holidays as well, and he's estimated around about the sort of £8,000 to £12,000, but as I say, a lot of the hard work has been done. Also from the same deceased estate is this 1978 Range Rover two-door, and yes, it's still a manual. It's still got its petrol V8 in it here, and it was bought relatively recently as a bit of a project to mess about with. And sadly, the owner passed away before he could do too much work on it. But it is a classic. It is a two-door, and yes, it's a Rangy as well. Now moving up to Leicestershire, coming down from Leicestershire here, we've got a little group of cars here, a little quartet of cars. First up, we have the 1950 MGTD, and nicely presented. This one's being sold without reserve, followed by the 1938, the MGTA. Again, this is also another no reserve vehicle being sold for the client up in Leicestershire. And also still from the same client up in Leicestershire is the 1927, the Darracq, the 1240DD, the open tour. Great looking car here. Maybe a child of Genevieve possibly, or maybe a close relation. And again, that's being sold without reserve. And finally, also from the same owner is the 1936 MGPB. Beautiful looking car here. Great condition, an older restoration. Spent a lot of time in a museum over in Sweden, and this was estimated between £26,000 and £28,000. Coming from the pre-war now to the post-war, we've got the 2002 Porsche Boxster 986, lady owned. She's had it for quite a few years now, and again selling it because she doesn't really use it. Estimate on this around about the sort of £5,000 to £6,000. The boxes, I think they're starting to move a bit, aren't they? Really. Also from the same lady owner is this 1966, the Triumph TR4A. It's an IRS, yet independent rear suspension. Again, she's had this since 2002, and this one's affectionately known as Effie, obviously due to the registration number there. Nicely presented here. The value on that round about the sort of the sort of £15,000 to £20,000. Now moving on to minis. No auction will be complete without a mini. This is a stunning, probably the best Mini Cooper I've seen in a long time. 1966, just like the Triumph TR4A. It's a Austin Mini Cooper Mark 1 here. It's had a nut and bolt meticulous restoration. The owner, he has restored 13 other Minis and Mini Coopers before. He knows what he's doing, and sadly he's moved up from Devon to Somerset recently, and sadly it doesn't have enough garage for all of his cars. An estimate on that between £18,000 and £20,000. As I say, that is probably the best one I've ever seen. A little bit more dearer now is a 2007 Jaguar XKR. It's a 4.2 coupe. Beautiful condition here. He's a serial owner of XKRs. He's got a convertible as well. This one has super low mileage, just over 24,000 miles. And this one's estimated around about the sort of £20,000. Certainly we see quite a few of those, and they are never as well presented as this one. Also beautifully presented, as it should be, is a 1963 Jaguar Mark II. It's a 3.8. It's automatic, subject of a circa £70,000 restoration some 20 years ago by Grace Jaguar. Many upgrades, wonderful thing, Coopercraft brakes, power steering, perfect for some touring. It's not been driven much, under 1,000 miles, so it probably will need a little bit of recommissioning, and it seems competitively estimated around about the sort of the £25,000 to £30,000. A lot less money, but equally from long-term ownership, is this divine little 1936, the Austin 10 Clifton Tourer. This is one of about 750 produced and just about 40 known to exist today. Long-term ownership. It's been family-owned since 1951. And value on that round about the sort of £6,500 to £7,500. The family simply aren't using it. Followed up by a rather sporty, here we go, in the mellow yellow, the 1995, the Lotus Elan Series 2 here. It's a limited edition model. It's number 563 of 800 made. And 2 owners from new. The first is a doctor. The second owner we're selling it for now. He's in his 80s. And he says he's just not using it. I think it probably terrifies him a little bit, if truth be known. Also, another great modern sports car is the 1989 the Porsche 944 S2 Cabriolet. And just like the Lotus there, this is a low ownership. It's been family owned since 2010. Little use, just over 45,000 miles. Again, so many of these have well in excess of 100,000 miles. Super clean car. Value on that around about 12 to 14,000. Back to the pre-war now for a 1934 Lagonda Rapier. Yes, those of you eagle-eyed wouldn't saw we had a lovely Lagonda Rapier in the last auction, and a bit like London Bus, you don't see any all year, then 2 come along at the same time. This one here was understood to have been an Abbott-bodied fixed-head coupe and converted Imperial to a 2-seater sports tourer. Lovely, well, beautiful presentation. The owner's had it for a few years. He's had it repainted, and he's basically selling it because he's got a collection of other vintage cars that he really feels he should be exercising and using. Next up now, we've got the 1987 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, a particular favourite of mine because, yes, my boss had one of these years ago, although I seem to recall it just sort of festering outside, not being used. This is beautifully presented with the champagne gold and the brown leather interior, hard and soft tops, new battery bits and pieces. And value on it sort of sensibly estimated around about £16,000 to £19,000. And why didn't we all buy one of those 10 years ago when they were considerably less than that? Now followed by this one is here's Tessa. There we go, the 1905 de Dion Bouton Type AL. It's an 8 horsepower, beautifully presented here from a client over near Marlborough, and they've owned it for a few years. This has actually only had 4 owners since 1905. I say affectionately known as Tessa. It's got several upgrades on it because it's competed in a lot of rallies over the years. It's got an electric fan. It's a conversion to 12 volt. It's got a standard carburetor, all so it can be used and enjoyed. Complete with a spare engine. Estimate on that round about the £22,000 to £25,000. Next up, we have Bob. Here we go. Here's Bob. And Bob is a 1934 Dirac Talbot Sports Saloon. Yeah, it's a 75. Again, sadly from a deceased estate. This one from over near Romsey. Lovely registration number Bob 610, which just happens to be the late owner's name. Well, obviously insured from Robert. And thought to be just one of 5 examples. With Coachwork by Dirac. There we go. It was on the motor show in 1934 on the Talbot stand. Nice, interesting history, beautifully presented. Sadly, we couldn't get it out with the 3-card gouge when I was there, but it is beautifully presented, and he's estimated between sort of £25,000 and £30,000. Now we're going to end up with a walk and talk with a little hop, skip and a jump through 3 cars, all from the same owner. First up, the Granada here. Yes, it's a 1983 Granada 2.8 gear X Estate. There we go. That was a great thing when it was new. Value on that sort of £7,000 to £8,000. Closely followed now by the 1988 the MG Maestro. It's a 2-litre EFI electronic fuel injection, and this one's been off the road for some time and estimated sort of £6,000 to £7,000, and again all from the same owner, and it's all tucked away in his barns here. Is a 1981 Ford Cortina Mark V, a 2-litre gear. Yes, what do you get for being a gear? I think you got alloy wheels, velour interior, wood door cappings and a sunroof, and that one here which has been the subject of an extensive and costly restoration and also featured in Classic Ford magazine in March 2023. It was on the front cover, and the value on that is round about the sort of £7,000 to £8,000. So we've got over 60 vehicles in the auction. Here's a bit of a walk and a talk through some of the ones which I think are lovely.